What's up, guys? Lore here once again with more Heart of the Swarm beta action. Let's just jump into these players. This is up in the northeast here. We have Risk as a Protoss player. And down here in the southwest, we have Smackie as a Protoss player. Smackie will be the blue Protoss, and Risk will be the red Protoss. Now, this is another random replay that I pulled off of drop.sc. And I actually had cast another game last week involving a player named Risk, but that player was playing Zerg. So I'm really curious if this is the same player. Maybe he's playing random. I don't think it will actually let me know if he queued as random on the ladder. These are obviously probably just going to be ladder matches. So I'm wondering if this is actually a random versus random game we ran into here, and they both managed to pull out Protoss in the randomness. So we're going to see some PvP action. Could be interesting. There's been a lot of changes to how the Protoss actually function, especially the new units. The Oracle, the Tempest have both gotten very, very significant changes, as well as the Mothership Core in the most recent round of beta updates, balance updates that Blizzard has done to the Heart of the Swarm beta. So we'll have to see how this actually works out here. Assuming we make it to that phase, a lot of these matches, Protoss versus Protoss tends to be one of the fastest matches, along with Zerg versus Zerg in the game at the moment. Kind of tends to turn into who attacked best in the early game, and then they just kind of sort of win from there. So doesn't look like any sort of really early expansion coming out of both players. Smackie dropping down his gateway over here at his ramp. Risk opting not to build his ramp, but he is dropping down his gateway, as well as his assimilator is finishing up right now. No assimilator yet for Smackie. He's just going for minerals. I'm not sure if that's an oversight on his part, if he just forgot to build it. Or no, he's actually going for 2 gateways. So we could see some very, very fast zealot aggression out of Smackie over here. He is now going to add on that assimilator, but he's going for 2 gateways. So that's interesting. I have not seen this sort of play in actually quite some time. 2 gateways this early, and then now adding on the cybernetics core. Very interesting choice of opener. Looks like Smackie poked up around in there a little bit. Didn't really see much. Not that there's really much to see at this moment. He just sees that the cybernetics core is in fact in production, and that's about it. There is a zealot on the way now for Risk, and Smackie's gonna scout the southeast corner to make sure that he didn't accidentally queue into a 2v2 match. I don't actually know why this guy is down here. Maybe he's gonna plan on building some sort of proxy. That would be possible, but we'll have to check back and see what ends up happening down over there. Mothership Core now on the way for Risk. Now the Mothership Core has gone through a lot of different changes lately. The most recent form of the Mothership, well, let's actually take a look at it here. It does still have the ability to upgrade into a full-fledged Mothership. It has this Envision ability, which gives it detection. It no longer has this detection tied to the Nexus that it casted on it. It actually does function as a mobile detector. And it's pretty quick, too. It's actually relatively fast. You saw it moving around there. And it does have its own little bit of a cannon that it now has. No longer needs to activate its Purify ability to shoot things. It just has a cannon of its own now. So that's nice. It does still have the, it used to be called the Purify ability. Now it's called Photon Overcharge, that it can cast on a Nexus. Too. Why is there a Nexus here? Why is there an Risk? Why is there a Nexus here? What did you... Alright, well, there's a Nexus here, and I have no idea why. Is he, like, trying to wall in with this thing? Like, what is he planning to use it as a Photon Overcharge target, like, exclusively? Like, is it just there to get Photon Overcharge cast on it? I'm not sure. The Photon Overcharge does allow him to plant it, and okay, it does allow him to plant, basically turn this into a really powerful cannon. So maybe that's what he wants to do here. He's going to use it to build some... I don't know. This is a bit weird. And it does still also have the mass recall ability as well, where it has to be... You do have to have the Mothership Core in with your army. It no longer is something that you can summon people across the map with it from having the Mothership Core sitting in the base. But it does allow the Mothership Core and any nearby units to teleport to the targeted Nexus. It basically works exactly like the Scrolls of Town portal did in Warcraft 3. So Smackie, in the meanwhile, is still adding on zealots like crazy. I don't think he's actually built a gas-using unit yet. Well, other than his mothership core, obviously, he's just pounding on the zealots like crazy. He does have a Twilight Council up. He's getting a upgrade there as well. I wonder if he's going to grab the charge for his zealots, if that's the plan, or if he's planning on going straight into... He's building on another gateway. I wonder if he's planning on going straight into... Nope, there's the charge. Okay, so he's not going into very fast High Templar there. That was what I was trying to say, or Dark Templar for that matter. Looks like he just wanted that for the charge upgrade. So it's kind of an interesting choice from Smackie. I'm not sure how I really feel about this. And that zealot did not get very far to be able to scout around anything here. Now, Risk, in the meanwhile, I'm not sure where he has it hidden. Up over here. There we are. He does have a Stargate out, and he does have a few Oracles now. The Oracle has gone through a ton of changes as well. It no longer has the Entomb ability. That was the one before that would lock down the minerals, put the little bubbles on the minerals so that you can't mine them. No longer has that ability. Instead, it now has the Pulsar Beam, which you can see it using here. It's actually going to attack this structure. It deals 25 damage every second to a structure. Drains energy as it continues to channel it. But you can see, ooh, nice cancel there at the last second from Smackie. Well, in combination with these Phoenixes, wow, this is actually a really scary attack. He's able to lift up units, and he's able to deal tons of damage with that Pulsar Beam to two structures. So that, I like that strategy quite a bit. That's a very, very nice, cute little tactic to use at the start there. It does also still have Revelation, which allows it to... it basically lets enemy units to grant vision for a while, so you can keep an eye on an area for a little while. And it has Time Warp now, which is an area of effect slow effect, which I believe could actually be used for harassment in the mineral lines. Also useful for slowing down enemy assaults, breaking up bunches of enemy units. Interesting little ability. Those were all changes that were made in the most recent balance update. So now Smackie coming in here, he has now put the Purify on that Nexus over there, so it is doing a little bit. I mean, this one, it would have worked as well. But he's trying to do as much damage as he can with that thing. Look at the range on that, by the way. That is a pretty decent amount of range. He's going to go ahead and put the, excuse me, it's not Purify anymore. It's, what is it, Photon Overcharge. There we go. So he is able to deflect that attack, but a lot of damage was dealt in the meantime. So it looks like Risk is actually going to move around here and come in for another attack with these Oracles and these couple of Phoenixes. Honestly, I would like to see him add on maybe 2 more Phoenixes into this, and then this would be a really, really scary combination. You'd be able to lift up units and kill them no problem, and be able to deal tons of damage to structures with that Pulsar Beam. He's going to be able to lift up this Stalker, but there's no way he's going to be able to kill it with just one Phoenix actually firing. So instead he's going to just try and keep it under control as long as possible. Actually, moving that Phoenix a little bit too close and not really paying attention, taking a bunch of damage from that. Probably going to lose that Phoenix to that cannon. That's unfortunate to see. That's a dead Phoenix due to poor Micro. It doesn't look like there's any sort of attacks going on around the rest of the map. He just sort of lost that Phoenix to Micro. Did manage to take out this base. What is that? It's your own unit, dude. You can read up on it. And there's that Time Warp ability. So it does seem to be something that you can kind of use. I don't know why he dropped one there, but you can kind of use it to slow down the mining just a little bit. It only slows the movement speed though, not the amount of time they spend actually mining the minerals. So it's not nearly as effective as a worker harassment tool as the Entomb was before. Excuse me. I'm kind of okay with that though. Honestly, I felt like Entomb was an interesting ability, but it was going to be next to impossible to balance. It's one of those things that if you balance it around pro players reacting to it properly, then it's devastating in the lower leagues. And if you balance it around the lower leagues where players are less likely to react to it properly, then it's just completely and totally worthless in pro player matches. So I am glad to see them experimenting with the Oracle a little bit more. I'm actually really liking that early Phoenix Oracle push that he did. The big question now is, what the hell do you make Void Rays for? That's kind of the question that a lot of Protoss players have been asking. If I can use the Oracle to deal a whole bunch of damage to a structure, and the 25 damage every second is that's a pretty decent amount of damage. If I'm able to use the Oracle to do that, then why would I ever build a Void Ray? Another unit that's gotten a little bit of work is the Tempest. Nothing too major happened with the Tempest. They just sort of balanced around its damage a little bit. They made it so that it now does, let's take a look here, 30 damage to the to normal units and 60 damage to massive units. Previously, the massive unit extra damage was something you had to research at the fleet beacon. That's no longer necessary. You do not need a fleet beacon. You don't even need them to build it anymore, but you know, not only that, but you do not need the fleet beacon to research that extra damage upgrade. And they also balance. It used to be like 25 damage with a 35 damage bonus to massive. Just basic number tweaking. Look at how quickly these oracles can do damage. There's just 5 of them there, and they are just melting that Nexus. Goodbye, expansion. That's not there anymore. I almost feel like maybe that ability might be a little OP. Like, honestly, he dropped down those things to slow them down, but the amount of time and the energy that he just spent doing that time warp, he could have just killed this thing. And now Smackie's going to find himself in a very, very precarious situation, as he no longer has a Nexus. Therefore, he's no longer able to mine. This could pretty much just end the game right here. That is something that, wow. Those oracles are pretty effective. Now, they are about out of energy, with the exception of this one here is still doing pretty decent. The rest of them are about out of energy. It does drain 1 energy every second. Excuse me, 2 energy every second, as they're continuing to attack here. And that's the end of that game. Yeah. Wow. Those oracles did tons of damage. I'm going to go ahead and say that seemed a little bit OP. I'm not actually sure. With the speed at which you can get oracles out, you almost have to have something like Phoenixes to be able to fight them off. And with the timing that came in there, I'm not actually sure what Smackie could have done against that. Obviously, as the game continued to go along, he should have been building more air defenses. I'm not really sure what he was doing in that match. Again, this is just a random replay. I'm not expecting every single one of these games to have, you know, Grandmaster quality play in it. But, man, oracles, they're really good now. I mean, they were good before in terms of harassment. Now they're really good in terms of just killing your opponent's base. So, will be interesting to see how these units continue to evolve and develop as the beta continues. I'm going to wrap this up, Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Lore, and I will see you in the next match.